The Ioniq 5, is this worth all that hype that Hyundai has been creating for the past few months? Well, with this big question in mind, I've come to beautiful Goa to finally get up close and personal with Hyundai's flagship vehicle. It's an EV, of course. I get to understand the car today and we drive the car tomorrow to give you our verdict from 91 Wheels. And what about the hype? Well, a few months back, they had showcased the car for the first time at the Iconic Gateway of India in Mumbai, lighting up the entire structure from the V2L, that's the vehicle to load function. Something you see here as well. If you want to be camping in the middle of nowhere, use the battery setup to juice up your equipment. That's very much possible. After that, they had done a blockbuster launch at the Auto Expo with none other than the king of Bollywood, Shah Rukh Khan, at a pricing that is the icing on the cake. And in between both the events, this one also made up a record of discovering various landmarks, iconic landmarks in India in the shortest possible time in an EV. So the hype has been coming over there, but does it live up to the hype? Well, the answer to this big question lies right here in this video. First thing first has to be about the design of the Ioniq 5. This is something we have never seen in the Indian market before. Also something we have never seen from Hyundai. Hyundai's fluidic design philosophy is completely different from what the Ioniq 5 looks like. In fact, if you look at the Creta or the Tucson or the Venue or the Grand i10 or any of the cars, they look completely different. But yeah, this is unique, this is sporty as well. Now this is not an SUV, it's more of a crossover. It sits pretty low. I'll show you the height. I stand 6 feet tall and the roof ends over here. So it's not very high in terms of SUV stance, but it's wide, it sits low as well. So it's a sporty looking crossover. And then some elements that definitely will make eyeballs look at the car repeatedly. For example, the LED setup. I have the indicators on right now and you can have a look at how the lights look like. This is completely sort of masked. You of course have the camera coming in over here for ADAS. It has 21 functions under ADAS. And then clever things, these are flaps which open up in case cooling is required. They are shut right now, but on the move, if the system wants the cooling to come via the air cooling setup, these flaps, they will open up. Likewise, on the side profile, you have massive 20-inch alloy wheels with a design we have never seen in a Korean offering. Look at this, it's sort of closed over here and it starts opening towards the outer edges. Could be because of the aerodynamic effect. I have no idea as of now because the presentation happens in the evening. Yeah, it sits low and then you have these flush type door handles. The rear doors are locked, so the handles are inside, but these ones like the XUV700, for example, they come out and you open the door like this. Going at the back, you have one more party trick, the matrix type LEDs. They're coming on your screen right now and they come in the way. The indicators look over here and the same matrix design is also visible on the door pads on the inside. By the way, you charge the Ioniq 5 from this outlet over here. And yes, because it's in a Hyundai, it's a modern day car, you have a massive glass sunroof extending to almost the entire length of the roof. So the exteriors are definitely something different. We have seen this in the elder sibling, the EV6 from the same manufacturer company. Kia and Hyundai are part of the same group. So even the EV6 looks fabulous and different, and so does the Ioniq 5. It's smaller than the EV6, but nevertheless, for the pricing, 45 lakh rupees extra for the pricing, it will demand a lot of attention on the road. Now this is what the future looks like. I was very impressed with the exterior design and this is something which has floored me completely. So yeah, I think the hype, it's satisfying this word hype. Now, in terms of bookings, Hyundai says they've got 650 confirmed bookings for the Ioniq 5. So you can basically book this and get this in India. So do this before the units run out of and you have to wait for the car. I said it's right out of the future in terms of the design. For example, practicality. Look at the floor, it's completely flat over here. It's a very minimalistic design, no extra buttons, no extra clutter over here. Everything is accessible and spacious. And then the central console over here can be moved. Which other car offers you this? I can take it back like this to have more space over here, or I can take it like this to get more space at the back. Both the seats, they are ventilated for cooling, for heating. Both the seats are powered as well. You have a huge glass area. It's a sunroof that doesn't open up, but it's a huge glass area which you can access from over here. And then this large connected screen kind of a thing we see in the Seltos as well. Two screens, one for your infotainment and for the functions. The second screen is for the speedometer console and for the ADAS function coming in. A two-spoke steering wheel with a flat bottom design. The drive modes come in over here like a race car. The gear lever goes on the right side. You have paddle shifters. You have space to keep knickknacks over there. You have cup holders over here. You have more space over here and a pull-out type glove box. I think Hyundai designers, they have worked extensively to make this cluttered free, to make this very practical, to make this a very feature loaded cabin. By the way, both the front seats can go into a lounge type setup only with a touch of a button over here. If I press this, look at what happens to the seat. So one touch of the button, it will go back, it will recline. This area will come up, your calf support will start opening up. So both the seats can be used to just chill around in the middle of nowhere or in an open theater with the movie playing in front of you. This is what you can do in the Ioniq 5. Up front, the seats are being cooled right now because it's very hot in Goa. I'll put this for my driving posture. I'll go at the back to show you the kind of or the sense of space the rear seats have to offer. Now, the Ioniq 5 is not only an EV by the heart, but it's also very good for the environment. For example, from flowers being used for the paint of the vehicle to flex seeds and trees and fruits dried being used for the upholstery or for different parts of the inside, Hyundai has gone to that kind of extent to ensure that environment-friendly parts are used during manufacture of the vehicle. At the back, a couple of more party tricks. For example, I can use the buttons over here to control the position of the seats. Yeah, even these seats are powered. For example, look at the left seat. Sorry, my seat, I go up, ahead, I go at the back. The left seat also gets power function, so you can go ahead or it can go back. The amount of possibilities in a car is what Hyundai has shown with the Ioniq 5. Again, I'll repeat, this kind of pricing for these kind of features and functionality and a pure EV was never imagined in the Indian space. Now, this seat is from my height. I stand 6 feet tall, and as you can make out, I have around 5 to 6 inches or even more knee room left over here. In spite of a glass roof coming in over here, my headroom is also pretty decent. So even someone who's 5'9", 5'10" from Punjab wearing a turban will not have an issue in the Ioniq 5. The glass area is large. You have a manual sun blind, one of the many features. This glass area is huge, so you get a very good view of surroundings. Right now, my surroundings are basically more Ioniq 5s in the backdrop, couple of more journalists. We have palm trees around. So for me, this position is excellent. One small issue I can find if I want to be a critic is basically the positioning of AC vents is on the pillars, not over here, and the flow is not very strong of the fan speed. So yeah, possibly if these could have been over here in the central area, the AC cooling at the back could have been better, but I'm just nitpicking this for the sake of it because I've not been able to find anything wrong till now. After this, the spacious rear seat, we go to the boot space of the Ioniq 5, and it has one more small storage space, not over here, but over there as well. And now the boot space of the Ioniq 5. If you have to be going outstation with your friends, is this enough? Well, I think so. For starters, you have a parcel tray. Not a parcel tray, it's basically trying to hide your stuff from unwanted eyes. And if you close this like this, yeah, I think it should be sufficient for one large suitcase and one medium as well. So not the best, but certain things you have to compromise in an EV because of the battery pack. Anyways, we have one more small storage space ahead where the engine is supposed to be. What is that? Well, let's go over there. Now, this is where the electric motor of the Ioniq 5 sits, and I told you about the practical storage spaces. There is more space over here. Yes, you open this flap and you have enough space to keep 4 of such pillows. Yeah, a lot of space on offer in this EV from Hyundai. And what about the performance or the battery capacity or the acceleration? Well, that comes in after a few seconds. EVs are supposed to be quick and yet silent, something I call as the power of silence. In the case of the Ioniq 5, it's got a 217 PS slash 350 Nm rated motor over there, powering the rear wheels. And what does a rear wheel drive EV do? Well, a few drifts coming up. At the same time, how quick is it from 0 to 100 in the sport mode? Well, coming up on your screen. So completely empty piece of road, I'll go into the sport mode and the acceleration coming right away. But it's not just about the outright punch or the level of fun you can have with this EV from Hyundai, but also about the way it goes about doing its duties in a very able manner. For starters, the NVH levels, the noise, vibration and the harshness levels, they are really very well controlled. Yes, EVs are supposed to be silent, but this one just takes it to a new level altogether. To select the modes, you have this switch over here on the side of the steering wheel, much like a sports car. You have the eco mode, you have the normal mode, you have the sport mode, and even the normal mode, the punch is always there for you to experience and overtake even fast moving vehicles. We are driving this car around the Goan roads, countryside roads of South Goa. A few straights, yes, for the performance experience, but largely it's got to do with these winding roads, and this is where you understand the concept of an EV coming in. The ride quality, by the way, I took the car off the road to Kabudurama for a few stunning shots, as you can see on your screen, and there is no road, but the Ioniq 5 surprises you with its ride quality. It is really a very comfortable setup. In spite of having 20-inch alloy wheels, I thought the low profile tires will rob the car of that ride quality, but I was wrong. The ride quality is sorted. Visibility from a driver's perspective, I stand 6 feet tall. The window lines are not too low, but this one, the windshield area is large and no issues in terms of the visibility. You of course have a 360 camera for tight parking situations. You have 21 functions from ADAS. Now ADAS is quickly catching up on Indian cars, and even in the Ioniq 5 you have 21 functions coming up. Unfortunately, no straight roads, so can't really use those functions right now, but peace of mind factor of course with the ADAS coming in. So yeah, it's got the performance, it's got the comfort levels, and even in terms of agility, these curves and corners coming in, the Ioniq 5 with all that weight being down really responds pretty well. The battery pack is rated at 72.6 kilowatt hour, and I've been getting a mix of around 5 to 5.5 kilometers per kilowatt hour on these roads right now, which means that even in these kind of environments, 350 to 400 kilometers is easily possible on the Ioniq 5. Rated is 631, but yeah, with the AC running, 400 is easily doable, easily possible. Now the floor is completely flat. You have a lot of room for your feet over here. The whole seat to steering wheel to the floor ratio is pretty good. I have ample headroom left, even in spite of this massive glass area over here. So yeah, even for tall people, this is a good place to be in the Ioniq 5. Now this, of course, being an EV, has the regen coming in, and the regen level can be controlled from the steering paddles. Yeah, it has paddle shifters, not for the gears, it's an automatic, but to control the level of regen you want. The gear lever, by the way, to select your reverse or drive is on the right side of the steering wheel, like a modern day Mercedes. So all this area over here is clutter free, just gives you a much more sense of being in a larger vehicle. By the way, talking of large, it's got a wheelbase that will shame a lot of big SUVs in the Indian market. This long wheelbase also helps to liberate a lot of space on the inside, which I spoke a few minutes back. So yeah, super airy cabin on the inside, range anxiety out of the picture completely. ample punch, it handles well, and yet it's a very, very comfortable EV to live with on a daily basis. Now, being an EV, it's very quiet on the outside, which sometimes can take pedestrians by a huge surprise. So what you have here is a fake sound coming in. So if the car is moving, pedestrians will know something is approaching them. How does it sound? Well, coming up on a screen. And back to my first question in the starting of the video, is the Ioniq 5 worth all that hype that Hyundai has been creating? Well, definitely yes. From the design, radical design of the car, to the future ready interiors, to the list of features, to the pleasure of driving, be it in a relaxed manner or be it in the fun factor manner, this one delivers where it matters the most. And at an price of just over 45 lakh rupees, it sits in a segment that literally has no other rivals. Hyundai with the Ioniq 5 has done a clever job in the Indian car market.